I know you touched on in our last conversation that you actually came close to maybe going down the route of taking steroids. Do you think this is a real problem for men in the fitness space, that there are these unrealistic body types that they aspire to look like?
Massively so. And I was in a position where I believed that too. I believed what it was to be a good coach was to be as ripped as possible so I can convince you that you can get as ripped as me. And actually, then once I did some research into uh, actually, steroids and how many people took them in the fitness industry, I really was actually blown away. Like the people you look up to when you're in your teens, more often than not, those people are taking steroids. And funnily enough, the reason I didn't take them was the next day I was meeting the guy to get my first dose. And this is how close I got. And then this video popped up. It was like it was meant to be. And we all have our own insecurities. And he did this post, and was someone who'd been on anabolic steroids. And he said, if you take anabolic steroids, your insecurities will not go away, they will be made worse.
Mm.
And so I was like, what does he mean by that? And he says, I was really insecure about my chest, for example. And he said, no matter how many steroids I took, the insecurity only got worse and worse, because when people found out I was on steroids, they would be like, wait, you're on steroids and that's what it looks like? And then you in your head are like, oh my goodness, I'm on steroids and I'm still not covering this insecurity. So actually the insecurity gets worse. And that's why we obviously spoke about earlier the differences in everyone's body type, and my comparison is a complete waste of time. You need to focus on you and your own goals and building the best version of you.
Yeah, it's so interesting. And also, like, everyone is built so differently genetically. And so you are going to look a bit different. And I know guys complain about like bicep insertions or the shape of their chest. And like some of these things, like, you you can't help
Who
but
cares?
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean? Like
I
deep
promise you,
down.
girls do not care about your
Exactly.
bicep
Exactly.
insertions. But I understand the appeal of, taking these drugs and maybe trying to change some of that. But do you think there's a lack of transparency? And if people were more transparent and honest about being on drugs and maybe even sharing how they take them, do you think that would improve things or like maybe make it worse?
I think it's actually making it worse, because there are a lot of people now coming out and saying how
Mm,
much they're taking and how almost amazing it is. Because I guess a lot of people I've spoken to who take steroids, is it almost makes them feel like a superhero.
yeah.
And it's like the casualness of these teenagers on social media saying, yeah, I ran my first few cycles and I got the worst acne I've ever had. I had
Yeah.
night sweats. I kept getting cramps. I couldn't get an erection when I came off steroids. Like, how has that become so casual and normal?
Yeah.
Just to look a certain way? It's crazy.
And at a young age as well, when in all other aspects you're so healthy. I don't know why you would want to kind of go through that, like you said, to maybe just appear a little bit bigger.
Being in amazing shape, but mentally being in terrible shape
Mm,
is one of the worst positions you can be.
yeah.
And actually, I look back on it now, and this is 7 years ago now. I was in that position where I was single digit body fat percentage, no social life. All I cared about was how I looked physically. And you really are lost. It's a very actually scary place to be, because you believe you are what everyone wants. But actually, when it came to my social life and when it came to even the dating scene, women aren't really interested in you if you are, as exciting as watching paint dry, right?
He's got
So
7% body fat.
so that's why I massively encourage people the 80-20 rule.
Yeah.
And it's 80% of the time you're dialed in. And by dialed in, I mean you're pushing yourself to your max in 80% of training, nutrition, sleep, all those things.
Mm,
But then you need the 20% in order to complement the 80%,
yeah.
because you need to dive out. There's no way you can be 100% all the time. And if you think you are, then I can guarantee you're going to burn out. allow yourself to have that 20% because it means that the 80% will just be that much better and you'll actually go much further on your fitness journey. Because if you think about it, the longer it takes for you to get the results, the easier it is for you to sustain them.
Yeah. Exactly. Like it's a far more sustainable approach. And I think what you said about being in peak physical fitness, but mentally like being pretty low is really interesting. And I've had very similar conversations with guests before on the podcast who have kind of gone on that same journey. And I guess it comes from like your reality not matching your expectations because you think when I am in
Mm.
this shape, when I do look, peak physical fitness, then I will be happy and I will get the girls and, I'll feel more confident. Whereas you arrive there and actually nothing's really changed. If anything, it's got worse.
It will happen as well. Like everyone will go through it. They will go through that point where they are so aesthetically driven. And I work with a lot of clients on switching that mindset because all they care about initially is how they look in the mirror or how much they weigh on the scales. And my goal with them is to get them into the mindset of really just loving themselves and enjoying the journey. And again, if you ask anyone who's been able to maintain amazing shape all year round for year on year who isn't massively enhanced in the bodybuilding shows, which we
Mm,
can talk about if you want to, they will say exactly the same thing as me. You have to learn to love the process in order to sustain the results.
yeah. And appreciate what your body can do.